China's spokesperson, Lu Pingyu, she's nothing to play with. She released a statement that basically stated China is not too happy with the U.S. releasing reports and articles talking about that recent attack on the U.S. Treasury was backed or sponsored or caused by China. She basically said, and I quote, "The U.S. needs to stop using cybersecurity to smear and slander China and stop spreading all kinds of disinformation about so-called Chinese hacking threats. The U.S. has not supplied any evidence that China is responsible for the hack." So basically, if you don't have any evidence, you cannot state that we did it. If you cannot prove it, do not assume. I was like, okay. But the United States is like, we know y'all did it. You might not admit to it because that's going to cause problems, especially with the upcoming U.S. president. But, whatever, we know y'all was behind it. So they released a report that stated it was Chinese sponsored. So they didn't blame China directly. They just said it was sponsored. So all of this started when early December, around December the 3rd, Beyond Trust, which is the company that assists the U.S. Treasury with like tech support problems, securing information, storing files and documents, they have these codes, these tokens that they can give you to access your computer remotely to, assist employees with whatever. So I guess some hackers figured out that, okay, we can't get into the U.S. Treasury directly, but there is another way in through this company that they hired. And if you look at Beyond Trust website, they basically state and promote that we, do business with the U.S. Treasury. I was like, wow. So that made them a target. They stated that they noticed some funny activity between the 3rd of December and the 6th of December, but it wasn't until the 8th that they realized they had been hacked. So it was like a period of days before they realized information was taken. They stated that they don't think that the information is going to be used for purposes of like stealing information for identity theft, fraud, things like that. They think it was just about information, intel, counterintelligence. So that's why they really believe that it's China. And remember, we were blaming China for the balloon thing too, but they did admit that it was them eventually. I don't know if they did. Let me know if y'all remember that. It was like a balloon that was just floating everywhere and we couldn't figure out what was happening or what was going on. Y'all remember that? Drop it in the comments below if you do. So basically China is saying, we're tired of you guys always blaming us for stuff, but we know China don't be playing fair. We know China and Russia and a few other countries that like to hack. So I don't know. Now, Beyond Trust, to save their reputation, they were like, look, we shut it down. They no longer have access, but they could have created accounts and passwords. And I thought it was kind of sketchy that when the U.S. Treasury came out and stated that they had been hacked, they didn't talk about how many employees had been hacked. What's the level of like security? Like, were these managers, were these like the upper people? And they did state that the documents were unclassified, but they wouldn't say what documents were stolen or taken or looked at. Like, what exactly happened? They're really vague on this. So I'm like, okay, if the documents are so unclassified, and these are the documents that the U.S. Treasury stores. So I'm like, what could this possibly be used for? And I was like, okay, if China is planning an attack, maybe they're going to attack or use information that they gained to kind of hit the U.S. stock market, stock exchange, to do something about Donald Trump, because he is trying to, bring jobs back or do something that might destroy business imports and exports with China. So I'm like, they're preparing for our new president to take control, and whatever they were able to find out or whatever information they felt like they needed is to kind of help them keep their financial advantage with the United States. Or I don't know. I feel like if China is responsible, the fact that they didn't release any information is going to be a telltale sign about who did it in the upcoming new year 2025. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Do y'all find it weird that the U.S. is being so vague about all of this, about what was stolen, what was taken, what was looked at? Tell us something. Considering that it's unclassified, we can know, right? It's not a secret. Classified, secret, unclassified, public information. Why not just come out and say, hey, they took these documents? Why are they being so hush hush? If China really did it, call them out. Or do you not want to play your hand before you have to? Do you feel like it's kind of like, we're just keeping an eye out on it. We're going to change some information. We know what they saw, and we want them to tell on themselves. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think about all of this in the comments below. My name is Daisha Shakila. Do you think China did it? I don't put it past them. I really don't. But I don't put anything past any country. This is politics and all of this espionage and things like that. So yeah, could be anybody.